Mute. Okay, do you hear me, Raphael? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you, Ian.
All right. So, hey, Mystic, thanks for joining. So, I'm streaming this to every platform. So, if you guys have any questions for us as we're going through this live stream, ask us on Twitter, on Periscope, YouTube, Facebook. This is going out everywhere, right? I see we got Mystic in the house. But yeah. So, Perel, what'd you say? Sorry. Hello, Paresh. Sorry, Raphael.
So my name is Raphael, by the way. but that's okay. That's okay.
It's been a long time. Hey, Syed. Hey, Zayed. Thanks for joining. Kyle Sherrington. Volume is good. Thank you. Hey, Tyler. All right. So this is going on the new Token Metrics channel and also on my old channel, Diary of a Made Man. If you're watching this from Diary of a Made Man, make sure you subscribe to the new Token Metrics YouTube channel because that's where almost all our brand new content will be posted. Right. So definitely make sure you watch it there. Okay. Hey, Alice in the house. What's up? Piyush Gates, Yusuf. Okay. All right, guys. So what's the market look like for Bitcoin? Raphael?
Okay, sure. So let me share my screen. And by the way, good evening. Well, for me, it's the evening. Good evening to everyone.
So how do you say that in French? Is that
bonsoir? Bonsoir tout le monde.
Okay. French is still good.
I know that you can speak French, actually, Ian. I know that.
Un peu. Bonjour. Thank you for joining.
That's good. That's great. Okay, so let me check here. So what does the market look like for Bitcoin? And here we are. And that's an interesting point actually right now because we are flirting with the $10,000. Okay, as the moment we're speaking right now, we're seeing that we are kind of hovering around the $10,000. Now we see that some sellers are trying to push it down, but they're not really successful. The buyers are really not there, really shy. It's what I call the no trade zone. And I know some people are going to get frustrated with what I'm about to say, but this is the place where everything can happen. This is a huge accumulation phase that what you're seeing. It's absolutely huge, and it's from, imagine, that's from the 14K, that's almost the 14K, the 13.8K that we've seen in June. From now on, it's been only an consolidation accumulation phase. So I have a concern about this. My concern is that the volume is completely has been decimated. There is no volume in this chart. You can see it, and you can see this even better when we go like on the larger, on the big picture. Volume is completely low. It's been decreasing by, I don't know, it's been divided by something like 7 or 8. This is massive. So when you're in a market like this, which is becoming what we call illiquid, then you are at the mercy of a violent movement from, it can go everywhere. Because if I am a whale, or if I am a fund, or if I have a lot of money, I can make the market move the way I want, and my impact on the market will be like even higher, even stronger, because there is no volume in it. If I have a market with a lot of volume, if I don't want to make it move, I will need actually to fight against what we call this market inertia, and that will take me a lot more money and therefore a lot more risk in order to reach my objective. So basically here, this is also normal. We are going to the end of August, and this is kind of the time, the season where traders are the most quiet, and all, with Christmas, New Year's Eve, it's about the same. As we are talking about, Bitcoin has been institutionalized, so funds have been putting a lot of money in Bitcoin. Right now, they are waiting for September to see what's happening. There are a lot there is a lot on their mind right now with what we've seen this week with the U.S.-China escalation, trade war escalation. So it can honestly, it can go either way. Even if, for example, some people are going to say, like, okay, this is going to go up because funds are using it as a hedge, as I'm saying, actually, this has been used as a hedge. But right now, what you're saying, let's compare it to another hedge. Okay, we have been saying, like, for example, gold. This is the current move in gold. Okay, so you see, like, from Friday. Okay, we can see this from Friday. You see the movement in gold. We went from 1493, and now we are at 1547. Okay, like a $50 raise in gold just in the blink of an eye. Okay, and there we are in gold and in Bitcoin. So right now, funds are not actually putting any money or taking any money out of it. This is like just
question. So what's the current value of Bitcoin, right? And how does that pale in comparison to what it's been doing the last couple of years?
Okay, well, right now, this is a very good question, actually. Right now, the volume of Bitcoin, and we can have a look, for example, if we go on the weekly, or I would say the weekly side would be good. Again, you can have a look. Okay, I'm truly sorry about this. I'm going to remove this so that you can have a look.
Okay.
So the Bitcoin volume has been decreasing. Okay, so this is what you were having when we got this huge bubble, the Bitcoin bubble last year in 2018. And you can see the level that we have reached here. So it was not that far from the level that was being reached at this point when we went to the 14K.
So we had the same volume around June, but it was people dumping.
Right? Yes, exactly. Totally right. Exactly. This is where we are right now, is that, okay, this is dumping, but actually it's pretty, the volume is decreasing, but this is much better, actually much more healthy, much healthier. Why? Because look, the decrease in volume here came with a huge decrease in the prices, meaning that people were actually taking profit. People were actually exiting the crypto sphere. And this is why we were seeing like huge difference, huge drop in the total market capitalization in the crypto sphere. But now we have the same difference in volume from there to there. But look, we only went to 13.8K and now we are hovering at 10K. This is not, of course, there are some profit taking, definitely. But still, the people that put the most of their money in order to prop up the funds from the 3,000 at the beginning of the year, they didn't take it back. Because if they cashed out, we wouldn't be talking at 10,000 here. We would be there at 6,000 and even lower. So no, funds are still holding their position. It's just they're not adding anything. If you want the price to move up, you need to add money into it. If you want a price to move down, well, you just need to take money out of it. This is just as simple. And for now, they're waiting. Okay, they're waiting. And waiting for a fund does not mean that it can be a huge trap. And I'm going to explain why it can be a huge trap. Those funds are injecting billions of dollars, okay? Billions of dollars. So for example, when us as retail traders, we're trying to invest, okay, we don't have a problem like having the Bitcoin at 10,021, or if it goes all the way down to 9,500 for us, it's not a big deal compared to the amount that we put in. But for those funds, imagine the repercussion that it has if we inject billions of dollars. If you can actually get it, let's say $1,000 lower, then you have gained like a multi-million dollars benefit of it. So what could happen? This is why I'm very, very like I would say risk conservative with this guy. I'm not trading for now. That's been 5 days. I didn't touch a Bitcoin nor Ethereum. Ethereum has been 3 months, but Bitcoin. Not touching, because what they can do is like they don't want to pay the price at 10,000. They would really rather pay the price at 9,000. So they could create actually a fake dump. They could induce sell off, put some market orders here, so that we got the retailers and everyone going into panic and buy it back at 9,000. Therefore, instead of having bought here at 10,000, they would have bought at 9,000, and at the end we would have the price back up to 10,000. So that's $1,000 per Bitcoin for $1 billion that has been put into the cryptosphere. That's huge. That's huge. That's multi-million dollars.
Wait a minute. Something right.
Okay, hold up. So you're saying that the whales are going to manipulate possibly the market?
I don't know if they will, but I've been working at Citibank, and that's definitely the kind of stuff they like to do. This is why, for example, the regulatory bodies, they have issued on traditional assets a number of measures that you can't even think in order to prevent those funds from doing this. Funds have been doing this for a while, like for decades with other currencies, and they loved it. And the problem is that it's harmed actually a lot of people when you're doing it with for a currency. They have been doing it, for example, with the Kiwi, the New Zealand dollar, especially spotting a low volume environment, a low volume like month, and then shorting the hell out of the coin so that they can just pick up with market orders that were hidden, and then just got back. They were just buying back the whole thing, and every retail traders were actually, well, sorry for the term, but pretty screwed actually.
Okay, so and all this is legal? They're legally shorting and dumping the price for these markets and then buying the bottom?
So it depends actually. The regulatory bodies, it's always actually, I would say, it's not a very defined line between what it's legal and what's not legal. The regulatory bodies, they are there because they don't want those big funds to take advantage of their huge capital because they can harm a currency. And when you're harming a currency, either, for example, you're pumping the price up or you're actually making it dump, you can harm an economy there. And we are talking about millions of people that depend on it, exportations, importation that are going to be affected. So what they do is that they ask, for example, that we don't hide our trades. Okay, so we can't actually, when we want to issue a trade, we can't, for example, cut the trades. Okay, we can't cut the trade block. What we say, we can't cut it, so that we have to issue in one time. To be honest, no one does that. Okay, that should be the case, but no one does that. And then you have other stuff. For example, we shouldn't be able to use like what we call dark market pools. Okay, when you can actually hid your orders so that other people, they don't see your orders, so they can't hid it. But just for telling you how contrarian is this, how contradictory is this environment, Bloomberg is providing his services. It's there is a dark pool, what we call a dark pool, when actually your orders got hid, and Bloomberg is one of the providers. So it's like it's really like we are always flirting with the limits here. So this is the problem with this kind of trade. Yeah.
All right. Wow. Yeah. So basically, to kind of recap, this is a no trade zone.
Yes, basically, you don't want to get caught. Okay, imagine you want to get long here. If you go enter a position right now, you're actually trading and then waiting for what's going to happen. September is going to, the funds are going to go back in. They're going to pour some liquidity into the markets. We're going to see some very, very nice, I would say, momentum and movements, but it can go either way. And actually, you can see a big dump and then a buyback. Okay, I believe that the Bitcoin asset function, the new Bitcoin function right now as a hedge, is not something that they're going just to drop away. Okay, Bitcoin is actually a pretty valuable asset as a hedge. It has proven that it's given some really good returns against USD, and it has provided substantial returns in a negative yielding environment. So definitely, I don't think that they will drop it. So the long side on, I would say the long side on the medium long term is, I would say, the path of the least resistance. However, you can have a huge drop just before. You can go down, it can go down to the to the okay, the 9K, the 9.8K, that's the one we are here. Then we could go all the way down to the 9.1K. So that will be the other one that needs that is a strong another strong support. But we have to take in consideration that if the drop is massive and if stop losses here are being hit, it could call actually another sell-off. And because they want actually, this is what they want. They want to break the stop losses so that at the end, the sell-off doesn't go by 5%. It's not going to decrease by 5%, but by 15%. This is what happened with the Kiwi actually, like a few decades ago. This is what happened is that they were selling, issuing a lot of New Zealand dollar on the market. Then it went down 5%. It hit the stop loss. So the stop loss are automatic orders to liquid the positions. So the buyers actually, they liquidate their position automatically. And so what happened when you liquidate your buying positions? Another sell-off coming. And then you have a 15% drop instead of a 5% drop. So we could definitely see that happen. It's not something in this kind of low in volume environment, everything can happen. Everything can happen. So I would say for people that are watching, it's a rather trade and wait, wait and trade rather than trade and wait.
Okay, very well said. Don't take the L. Don't take the L. So let's go to some altcoins.
Sure. Okay, so I just want to go to the leading altcoin, so Ethereum. Ethereum did something fortunate. So I was talking like during the last week for this kind of rising wedge that we saw here and the short-term uptrend that was formed. Unfortunately, like we had this the 0.019 that was a resistance level that's showed the, how to say, the coin Ethereum got some difficulties in order to break it and wasn't able, and we just fall. This is also something to remember here is that time is always against buyers in this kind of environments. Okay, when you have, for example, an environment like this where people are waiting for a move up to happen. Okay, so we have holders, physical holders that they want actually. The problem is that at some point, if it doesn't come, they just cash out and move to another asset that is actually moving. So time always plays against the buyer. And
that's basically opportunity cost, right?
Yeah, exactly this.
Way that.
Yes, it's exactly that. This is the cost of opportunity. So when you see other altcoins, for example, like OneChain, we will discuss about that later, that actually that are doing well, and you're stuck with Ethereum that just getting wrecked. Well, you just say, okay, I'm going to take my loss, I cash out, and I move to somewhere I think that I can actually recover my loss and make some profits. And unfortunately, this is a bit like what is happening here with Ethereum. There was no really, like, the volume was flat, not really decreasing, but not really increasing either, flat. They weren't able to break this, only the first resistance. This is just to show you the weakness of the coin. This is the first resistance, and we are near the yearly lows. With a Bitcoin dominance that is above the roof, and they weren't able to break just the first one. And now we're actually like going down. There is this minor support that we can draw here that is kind of holding for now, but okay, it's kind of holding for now. So we could see some whipsaw, but it's not really looking good. To be honest, it's really not looking good at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't own any Ethereum.
Yes, Ethereum has been a huge disappointment, especially, and this is the leading indicator we're talking about. So it's like, for example, the GAFAs, what we call the GAFA, the Google, Apple, Facebook. So the big market cap that are weighing a lot in the altcoin markets, in the altcoin market. So we're looking at those actually. We're looking at the Ethereum, how it's doing, because when you see Ethereum going well, then you say, okay, if Ethereum is actually taking a bid here, so going up, then definitely I want to look at other altcoins that may have a slightly lower market capitalization because they have a much, I would say, bigger upside potential. But no, Ethereum is not showing anything here. It's not showing weakness. not catching any volume increase. This is any volume bid. This is not good. This is really not good for now. We will see in September. It might change, but yeah, for now.
Okay, so basically no alt season anytime soon.
For now, not yet. No. What I was thinking is that, okay, this also have to say something is that we can't be prophets here. We can't be messiahs. Okay, I know some people have been like have done some really great I would say forecast, but I don't want to play the messiah here. We could have my theory. I always as a quantitative trader, I'm playing some theories and see if actually they can go along. It's like we had this massive Bitcoin pumping phase. We went over like 70%. The altcoins were completely decimated. And when I look at the altcoin, I'm looking at the biggest ones, and especially Ethereum, to see how it reacts. And the second phase, in my sense, is that we should see the Bitcoin kind of, for example, the Bitcoin market cap will keep rising at the same, maybe at a slightly lower pace. That would be the second phase. But at the same time, we will see some cash that will be some wealth transfer from Bitcoin to the altcoins. That's a phase number 2, when you have Bitcoin that is going up, but slightly lower and slightly slower actually than before, but the altcoins actually are picking up. This is phase 2. And the phase 3 is that actually you have Bitcoin going down and you have the altcoins going up. Then this is the true alt season. Right now, we're still in phase 1, where actually altcoins are getting wrecked and Bitcoin is being pumped. We'll see in September how it goes, but I think it's going to be the same. We're still in phase 1. But then after, you have to think about something, because when Bitcoin will keep going higher and higher, and they keep going to increase their positions in Bitcoin going 70%, 72, 75, and at some point it will create, they will have so many positions in Bitcoin, and they will see there will be some greed coming into this market. They will definitely take some profits on Bitcoin and then allocate that to Ethereum. They will keep putting the new funds also on Bitcoin at first and then the Ethereum. This is why we will get the phase 2. And so yes, but right now this is not the case. Right now there is no sign of any reversal like this, not any sign, because once they will do it, you will see some very massive and constant volumes coming in.
All right, makes sense. Okay, thank you for that, Raphael. So let's go to some altcoins. So people have an interest in doing TA for OneChain and Icon, ICX. So let's start with OneChain.
Okay, OneChain, sure. Okay, so OneChain have been doing incredible. To be honest, it's I'm really impressed with the resilience of this coin, because I just want to look to show you the big.
Man.
So yeah, big picture is kind of scary. When you look at this, you're like, oh my God, what is this? But then think about it. So we were at the yearly lows here, okay, about around 189 Satoshi, and then like in so fast, like that was impressive. We got this huge rise, and look at the volume increase.
That is wild.
That was incredible. It went all the way up to almost 600. And in no time, actually, it took like between like the 22 of August to 2024. So that was incredible. And what I also really liked, is that you had this backup in volume. You had really the volumes coming in, but it's not a fake pump and dump. For example, when they go all the way and we got erased like just after this. No, actually, they were able to the sellers were actually struggling here, and we saw that the pullback has been controlled. So that's pretty amazing. And we even saw like they're taking this the new support, this former resistance, now acting as a support at 358, 360, and they actually even managed to bring it back up all the way to the 453. So really, the buyers are not like they are not over It's like they don't want to lose what they have gained, and we have buyers holding their position. Of course, there's some profit taking, which is normal after this move, what we call parabolic. But buyers are still there. They're still holding their positions, and new ones are coming in. This is very bullish sign. This is pretty amazing. So right now,
So basically, it's very bullish to continue, or
okay.
I mean, because they did have news that I believe they've launched or announced staking for their blockchain. So I think that kind of has built up lots of interest for people who have to maybe buy the token to stake and run nodes, right? But do you think there's any future going forward, or right, like the dump is over?
Okay, so very, very good question. So let's have a look at what we are saying here. I'm saying that after such a parabolic move, we went about like time 5x, almost 6x, 5x, let's say. We actually we got this pullback, healthy pullback, and then right after this, we got another part of people, another I would say bunch of buyers coming in. So what do we have here? Is this like I would say some people that missed the first train, or some people actually that are still coming in? There's new cash coming in. Well, if I have a look at the volume, you can see clearly the volume was on the rise. At this point, it decreased. Then you have this huge spike that is completely, it's going out of control. And what I like is that there is no sell-off after this, meaning that someone or some people are buying and they're holding the position for now, which is pretty good, that means that they think that this could go higher. You always have to think about where is the cash going and do they hold their position, because if it was going there at 600 and then going all the back down to 200, that's very bearish. That just means it's a pump and dump. People that don't have any interest in the coin over the long term, they just want to make money on the short term. And no, here we are. They're actually offsetting the sellers, pushing it back. And look at this candle here. The price action is really incredible because we went down, but it pushed it up. They don't even let a candle go red. This is a very good sign. I'm pretty impressed. The only issue I have here, and the stochastic also, just to add, the stochastic is showing some bullish crossover. The only issue I have is that we have the downtrend coming here. The downtrend is pretty close. This is why the risk reward is not great, in the sense like if you want to take a trade here and you are a bit like the upside is capped for now, because we haven't been able to I would say to broke this downtrend. Another thing also, we weren't able to make a higher high. So this is why I would want, for example, this is typically the case if they manage to break through the downtrend here and hold it, then this is a great buy, because that would mean it would put in jeopardy the whole downtrend. We would really have a potential reversal with resumption of a bull run there. So this is what you should be looking for. The really line to look for here is this one, gentlemen. This is the 609 Satoshi. If they break here and then we pull back to this line, they can hold this line without creating what we call a bull trap, sorry, then go for it. This is really good. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to investment advice, but this is like that would be a school case, to be honest. Like if they do that, that actually would be that would dismantle the whole bear theory is there. Then the bears would be completely crushed at that point. This is really what they don't want to see it. And for now, they're not showing that much, I would say, strength compared to this huge parabolic move. So I'm looking at this coin pretty closely.
Wow. Okay, that's good. That's good news. All right. So let's now go to ICON, ICX.
Sure. So Icon also has done great. Okay, not the same pace, but has done really great. Different kind Icon, and you know this is what I like about Icon, and I'm going to tell you why there was not this higher high that we can see here. So Icon, okay, we went from 179, or if we can go, let's say, okay, 170, 170 like there, and we went all the way up to 260. There was a pullback, which is totally normal after such a move, a very big move against Bitcoin, and they were able to hold this support here. That's really, really bullish at this one. The same thing is that when you have a huge move, what you expect is like a lot of profit taking. If there is not profit taking, that means that people, they believe that they have this market perception that it should go higher. And buyers, when they see that sellers, they will see that the price is not dropping, buyers, they jump in. They jump in because they want to take their cut because they feel more confident about this. And so we run higher, and then we made a higher high here. And this is good. This is really bullish, a really bullish signal here. Of course, we pulled back, okay, but you have to look at the fact that first we broke two resistance, okay. We didn't manage to hold the 247. For now, the 222 is holding, 220 is holding. There, it's being testing right now. That will be also interesting to see how it reacts because stochastic is going in the oversold territory. So I would be interesting to see if they can actually catch a bidding. But the higher high that was making here, it's great because you need a lot of momentum to bring it all the way to 260. Okay, but you need a much higher momentum to bring it from 222 up to 276, just because at that point, look at the volume. The volume was increasing that much. So the guys that made it go up there, they didn't have to put as much money as the people that were here. So this is why always a lot of people, they look at the size of the candles and they say, okay, the size of the candle is lower, so that is slower, so that actually smaller. So this is not that great. It's not the size of the candle that matters. What matters is that the size of the volume. It's how much money do you have to put in to make the market move. Okay, it's like here you can put $10 is going to move 1 point. Okay, here you put $10, this is going to move 0.1 point. So imagine how much money you have to put in order to make a higher high at this point. This is really impressive. Always have to think about the other scenario. Imagine that this is a good risk reward, by the way, but imagine that they were not able to hold this. Okay, in that case, they're not able to hold this, and the buyers the buyers grow impatient and cash out, and that will be pretty terrific because that will be a huge bull trap. And we could go all the way down to 160. This is why every time, because we are always talking in probabilities here, you always need to have a stop loss. You always need to have a point where if it goes there, then you take your cash out because it can go all the way down to the yearly low. So we can't run out any hypothesis there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, as somebody who was an investor in both of these projects in their ICOs back in 2017, right? It's finally good to see them kind of finally getting out of the graveyard, right? Right? But yeah, I mean, definitely curious to see how they perform this year.
Yes, no, it's looking really good. And something also I like is this. It's like, okay, you got this pullback, but you see the volume is decreasing, meaning that it's not really like you don't have much profit taking at this point. So as people are holding their positions for now, it looks good. It's really like makes me feel more confident when I see this kind of setup. Okay, and this is not what we have here in OneChain. Even if OneChain has done an incredible job, but in OneChain we didn't have this higher high there. So this is why, and you have the downtrend here. So I'm a bit like I'm afraid that they could have, like, for example, used too much momentum. So that would be I would like to see it, to watch and wait, for example, if they can manage to break over the 609, 610 Satoshi. That's impressive. That will be like really, really impressive.
Okay, very nice, very nice. All right, so we have more altcoins. Let's check into Metal Pay.
Sure. Okay, so Metal, what we had is like, I'm just going to see the high picture. So basically the altcoins always look the same. But okay, so what we had is that they managed to broke up from this downtrend here. They went and they tested the downtrend that we have from, this is a longer downtrend. They weren't able to sustain it, and we had this kind of pullback that was pretty much due after such. It's also a pretty big move that we are here. Okay, we went through like let's talk about the breakout, 300 all the way to almost 500. So it's pretty impressive. This is not putting in question, like, for example, like the bearish trend for now. Okay, so we tested and we are going back. However, I just want to say something is that we see the development of a short-term uptrend here. So the idea would be to see if first it can maintain the 327 Satoshi support level, and then the support that it could use as a ramp in order to test the 419 and then maybe higher. Same here that we can see is that we are in an oversold territory on the stochastic. Volume has been rising on the uptrend, which is good, a very good sign. Okay, any movement that is backed up by volume has much more weight than a movement that has zero volume or very, very low volume at the same time, because it's the same. Like, if you want to bring it down, then you're going to have to put much more money to bring it down. So I'm much more comfortable with this kind of movement. So there's going to be this cluster of support. It could definitely get enough support in order for it to go higher. So let's watch this zone. The zone to watch is, I would say, between 295 to 320. That's the zone actually buyers, they will definitely step in there and try to prop it up toward 417 and probably try to break also the downtrend here. If they manage to do so, same thing that we are saying. We're saying actually that the downtrend is being broken. So like we have a potential reversal on our plate, which is a very bullish sign.
Okay, bullish for Metal. Now, okay, very interesting. So one person has a question. This is from Captain Ahab, I believe. Sure. So he's saying all these altcoins are basically doing well, while Ethereum is not doing so well, right? Any thoughts on that?
Okay, that's a very good question actually, because yes, OneChain, Icon, Metal, and Dusk have been doing great. The question is actually, are they just outliers, or are we actually seeing a kind of a divergence between Ethereum and Altcoin? And actually, when I was looking at, for example, on Binance, you were saying that, yeah, those last days, that's true. Altcoins have been doing pretty well, besides Ethereum, who was kind of, I would say, going down. This is retail trades. This is retail volume. There is no fund into it. So the issue I have here, my theory, okay, this is only my theory, is that people have been holding coins for a long time, and those coins actually have lost a lot of value during the 2018 market crash. And they're still looking to recover the losses and do some profit, but mostly recover the losses. We're talking about 70%, 80% portfolio loss. So when they see like any sign of life in the altcoins, they want to profit from a coin that has a higher potential, a higher upward potential, meaning that I will prefer to buy a shit coin that can actually do 5x, 10x, rather than buying Ethereum that will only do 1.2, 1.5x, maybe 2x if I am lucky. So this is why we've been seeing that Ethereum was getting a catch also. Ethereum was still getting a bid. Ethereum was still getting a bid, but however, it was not as, I would say, consequent as, sorry, that's Ethereum against USD. That was not as consequent at the altcoins. So it's always a matter of fact, like Ethereum was not doing that bad actually right now during the last few days. If you can see, like, okay, we see Icon definitely really good, one chain tremendous, but Ethereum we caught a bit here. So when they start seeing actually that there is some sign of life, of revival in the altcoin, they go all the way into the they would say the low market cap, the shit coins, and some, I would say, not, well, one chain and Icon are not shitcoin, but I would say lower market cap because they have a higher potential of returns. People are still thinking like this because they are still having the same mindset as in 2017. There is this kind of saying that is, unfortunately, it's pretty wrong actually. It's like the future of the curve, the future of a trend is written in its past. And but the problem is, like, you have to understand that in 2017 what happened was unique. It's like people that invested, they didn't have the background that we have right now when we're looking at 2017 and 2018 and we saw the market crash coming in. So you can't actually take the same. People right now, they are more risk averse. So betting on an altcoin that is not a high market cap is actually pretty risky, regarding the fact that Bitcoin is not showing any sign of, I would say, we didn't see any sharp drop in Bitcoin, sharp drop in Bitcoin's dominance right now. So yes, I think it's, and this is retail. This is what we call, and sorry for this, but this is not, I'm not calling this, it's what we call dumb money. You have the smart money with the institutions and the dumb money. And dumb money, actually, it's called this way because, well, but the dumb money is actually pretty big, and especially in the traditional asset, but here it's pretty big, so it counts for something, but it's completely unorganized, disorganized. So I wouldn't read too much into this, honestly. If you want to have like a assurance that something, if you want to have a clearer path, you look at the strong cash coming in, like this. And I'm going to show you this. This is what you want to see. The funds, what they do is that they don't prop up something from like, let's say 200 to 500. They prop it in a large volume market, a much larger volume market, through all the way, from 3,000 to 14K and with no pullback. This is a fund coming in. Those are funds. Those are billions of dollars that are being injected. And those are market orders, and they say, we don't want it to drop like more than this. And they buy back, and this is a fund coming in. We don't see that in Icon. Well, I don't see this. I don't see it in Ethereum. I don't see it. I don't see it nowhere, actually.
Wow. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, just post in the comments, and we'll take care of them. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, some people are talking about one chain and Ethereum not being able to scale unless Ethereum has a scaling solution. I'm not sure what that means, but hey, Michael, thanks for joining.
If I can just say something, as like, I think this is really great that you have, for example, Paresh and I looking at those coins, because we have two very different views, two very different point of views. Paresh is really the guy that you wanna have when it comes to the, I would say, the project solidity. It's like the guy is going to go in the code, is going to go like through every line of code, every fundamental, and it's going to tell you this is a good project. Okay, great. I am not looking into this. Okay, what I'm doing is like I'm looking if the market is, this coin is actually attracting cash. This is what I'm just looking at the cash flow. So for me, I don't know the product. To be honest, I don't even know what icon is, you know, the code and that kind of stuff, or even what they sell, or one chain or metal or dusk. I don't even know what they do. Okay. The fact is that I'm just looking at their, I would say, capacity, their ability to raise cash to attract investors. So they can have, because you can have an incredible product, but if for some reason you are not able to market it correctly, you're not able to, I don't know, to differentiate compared to your competitors, or then you see that for me, it's actually a cost of opportunity to invest. I'm looking at it as a cost of opportunity to invest in this coin rather than another one. But maybe the product is terrible, but it's actually bringing a lot of attention at this point. So this is what we are looking at as traders, of course.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely makes sense, right? You kind of have, I think that's kind of the lesson I've learned as well, right? You have to look at everything, right? The more data, the better, both fundamentally and the technology and the technical analysis, all that to kind of get a better, full, more holistic picture on a product as you're investing in, right? Because in crypto, right, like for example, right, like BitConnect, right? People were trading that, but if you didn't know it was a shitcoin, right? One day you wake up and it's gone to zero. Right? So we're basically trying to prevent things like that, and also trying to prevent sparksters, basically.
Yes, sure. Yes, no, and but to be honest, and this is my take. Bitcoin. I've seen some people talking in the discussion group, and that was interesting actually. Talking about the fact that they weren't sure that Bitcoin was a safe asset, was used as a safe asset just because it didn't move during the last few days when we saw that, on the contrary, gold, was going up. So definitely, and this is actually a very good market analysis that they did. It's like, yeah, we got a decorrelation recently, like just for the last few days, we got like totally the correlation between Bitcoin and gold. But we don't have actually this huge drop in gold in Bitcoin either way. So they are not taking the cash out of Bitcoin and putting it somewhere else. They are waiting. And so we have people that are waiting to see what happens. And it's September. They are going to actually, well, we'll see, are going to invest or are going to withdraw their money. However, here with Bitcoin, we definitely have like this assets has shown some impressive returns against USD, and most of the funds, they want actually they want to benefit from it. And as I don't see any sign that they're dropping right now, then that's pretty good. This is just a waiting phase. But however, be very careful, because those funds are sorry, but they are sneaky bastards. And they really can create a dump, a sell-off just to buy at a much lower level. This is definitely something that they have done, and they will keep doing it again, especially in a non-really regulated market.
Okay, wow. Yeah, I think that was definitely lots and lots of content. Now, let's take some more questions from the audience. If you have any questions for Raphael on any of the technical analysis he's done thus far, just ask us in the comments below, and we'll ask you questions. Okay. Okay, yeah, people are saying they love the content, cryptocurrency from Twitter and Periscope. He's saying he likes it. He likes how the TA and the fundamentals complement each other.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It means a lot. And something I just want to state here to everyone that is listening is that I don't hold the truth. Okay, this is very important. So please, like, there are something, I'm just human. Okay, and there are something that I don't see. Okay, so and this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking as theoretically speaking. Okay, because this is what we do as traders when we issue a trade. Well, we issue a trade because the probabilities are in our favor, but who knows? Something can happen, and we have some losses. Okay, I never met any trader that doesn't have any loss. So yes, it's always, we're trying to figure out where the cash is going in, but the cash is a dynamic thing. So of course, it goes and it goes in and out, and we are just trying to spot, for example, this kind of movement when we see like a slowly increasing momentum, pushing the price up, breaking the resistance, and then this is where you want to enter. This is when you want to enter, and I would say I do not advise to chase bottom and tops, because you never know. You only know where a bottom is a bottom or a top is a top when it already happened. Okay, it's like I see people. I was talking to someone today that was pretty sad because he told me that he was actually he made a lot of money during the 2017 burst. It was an incredible rise, and then he told me, yes, but I could have seen this, that. No. It's like you are saying that now because it already happened. It sounds easy because you can read it on the chart. But look, at the moment, you don't know at the moment. You're just seeing, like, for example, imagine that you put your hand on the chart and you don't see anything. You just see people keep buying and buying and buying. So of course, when you see that, we have this urge actually to go in and buy. So it's not like foolish to buy, when it's going up like this. This is no, definitely not. The volume was increasing. There was, it's very hard. We knew that we were in a bubble, but the principle, the essence of a bubble is that you never know when it's going to burst. You never know. And you see people that are trying to become, like, I would say, like wise people that were shorting the bubble that got wrecked. At the same time, the whole portfolio went down because they were shorting. Well, it was at $12,000, and then it went all the way up to almost 20K, and their portfolio went completely, completely washed out. So you see, it's you don't want to chase any bottom or any top. You just go with the flow. This is what, and it's already hard enough to do it this way. So,
wow. Yeah, I mean, I think we all definitely learned a lot from the bubble, right? The bull market, the bear market. And I think for me, the biggest thing I learned is, one, portfolio allocation and risk management, right? And just kind of knowing that things don't go up forever, right? Because it's one thing to say that, but once you get into a bear market, it took really a while to really realize, like, oh, wow, this is an actual bear market. And
yes,
we've been losing money for a long time, and there's no end in sight.
Yes, just to talk about this, and I'm sorry if I doesn't it's not a good press for him, but someone would say I would say another French citizen that's called Pierre Endurant from Endurant Capital, who was one of the largest oil fund in the world. This guy was like a impressive trader, oil trader. And he made like the fund was about $10 billion, if I remember correctly. And in 2018, if I remember, it lost 20% of the fund value in 1 month.
20% in 1 month?
Yes, 20% in 1 month. So you can imagine, because in 2018, we had this huge drop at one point. The oil was going up pretty far up actually at some point, and then we saw this huge move down coming, and he was aiming for $100 a barrel, but he never got there. And yes, as Jan says, it's really true, is that as human beings, and this is also why psychology is very important, we have it's very difficult for us to take a loss, to admit that we are losing money and that the trend was wrong. It's very hard for us. So we prefer actually we bias ourselves, and we try to find everyone on Twitter, on the social media, that think the same way as we do, in order to get some confidence and hold on the positions while it keeps losing and losing and losing and losing. So this is why you have some great stuff called stop losses that are automatic. They don't have any emotion. They just take you out. Okay, so that you don't have to feel sorry for yourself. It just takes you out.
Yeah, wow, incredible. The market can be a hell of a teacher.
Oh yeah. The market is a widow maker.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Raphael. Okay, so we see Paresh has joined us. I'll go ahead and stop sharing. You can.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. Paresh, how are you?
Very good, Ian. How are you doing?
Good. You know, we just had lots of information here from Raphael, right? Giving us very solid TA on Bitcoin, some altcoins like Ethereum and others, right? And now we have you, the technology expert, to come in and kind of share with us projects you've been researching in, right? We all know Binance has an IEO coming up, right? Perlin, and you've been diving deep into technology the last week or so, and we're all curious to see what you have to share with us.
Sure.
Okay, all right. So thank you, Raphael. Au revoir.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Au revoir. Au revoir, Yann.
Bonsoir.
Good luck, Paresh.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
thank you.
speak to you soon. Bye.
Okay, all right. How are you, Paresh? How's your day?
Yeah, great. I was just putting my kids sleep.
It's to sleep? They're all asleep now?
My wife is trying now. It's
Okay, well, it's a pleasure having you on. If anybody has any questions or comments, just feel free to post them in the comments, and we'll make sure to ask Paresh the questions. Okay, so first thing first, what projects have you been checking into?
yeah. So most of the 70% time this week was Perlin. So yeah, end to end.
And so maybe let's kind of start high level with what your initial take was from looking into Perlin, and then dive deeper into it and kind of get dirty with the technology.
Yeah, let's do that actually. Let's start. Let me share my screen so we can start from the scratch rather than jumping here and there. So I have opened all the tabs, kept ready for this video. So
Nice,
we
very
can
nice.
for it as much, I mean, given the time permits. Again, let's see how much detail we can go. Right, so Perlin, they come up with something new concept, never heard before. Yeah, so that's what they call it, leaderless.
Leaderless. Sounds
Yeah.
like some marketing talk.
Oh, no, it's not marketing talk. It's about blockchain consensus protocol. Yes, so far you see all conventional blockchain so far, they're using either proof of work or proof of stake. Yeah. So proof of work, I mean, everyone knows is based on computational power, and the problem gets harder and harder as blockchain size keep increasing, like Bitcoin. Yeah, which requires a lot of energy. That's why, I mean, most of blockchain nowadays is moving to the proof of stake. The proof of stake also has some of the disadvantages, like so there is two things when things comes to blockchain: security and the scalability, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to increase the security, you need to compromise a bit on the security. If you want to increase the security, robust the security, then you need to compromise a bit on scalability, right? So why it is so? Because proof of stake algorithm, so far, most of blockchains are leader based, right? Leader based means that there is a someone who decides actually who commits the blocks into the blockchain, right? So that basically makes the final. So what happens, like in proof of stake, there are usually there are many leaders. It's called validators as well, right? So they validate the blocks and put into onto the blockchain. So if there are, so what this guy is saying, Perlin, is I think they have explained very good why they went on the leaderless on their Medium article. So what they're saying is if you have a small number of validators, right, then it will be faster. You can achieve a bit more scalability, but it can, prone to the fraudulent activities basically because small number of validators can be security threat. right? So what you do is like to increase the security, you increase the number of validators, right? So
Mhm.
if you increase the number of validators, yes, security will be better, but scalability will be compromised. Okay, so these two arguments they have done against the proof of work and proof of stake, and Perlin come up with this leaderless algorithm. So the way it works is very unique. Actually, it took me so long to understand what was it, but I think I will make it very simple for you and the people watching this video. So the way it works is there is no leader in this. They are using the proof of stake algorithm, means like consensus protocol, but there is no leader. No one decides actually, who will commit to the blockchain, because this blockchain, the Perlin blockchain, is called Wavelet. I think let me open that as well. So Perlin is a name of the project, and the Wavelet is their blockchain.
So Wavelet is their blockchain,
Yeah, so Wavelet is a name of their blockchain.
and
So
Perlin is what?
it's their project name, basically.
Project and company name. Okay.
Okay. So they call it the Wavelet. So what they do is they don't have leader. That means I mean, there is no one, doing centrally validating the blocks, right? So that's why what they're saying here is absolutely zero trust, basically. So there is no committees, no leaders, no central authority, basically. And this is possible. Why? They are not using the conventional blockchain like number of blocks and transactions and all, but they are using a directed acyclic graph, right? So that is basically the game changer. I mean, you
Okay.
see.
Okay. Hold on. Sorry. So they aren't doing a blockchain. They're doing a DAG.
Yeah, I mean, it is a blockchain, but it is DAG based. So that's what you call is a DAG based blockchain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Casper Labs and other, slowly protocols that coming, they all like moving towards the DAG. The advantage of it is, it is a graph, right? So
Mm.
graph, like once it starts from the genesis block, right, it just keep expanding and expanding and expanding, and each node, I mean each node in the graph takes very less memory, right? So the advantage is like you don't need to store the whole graph. Let's say when you have like millions of nodes in the graph from the genesis block, you don't need to have all of those graphs stored in the full node, because whatever is I mean finalized, right, you can just delete those node from the node where you're running with the consensus algorithm. And that's the beauty of this protocol, and that's why what they're promising is this, right? So anyone with the mobile phone with the internet connection and just 512 megabyte of RAM, they can run the whole full node on the block, I mean on the phone, right? So you can actually participate to validate the transactions as well, right?
Yeah.
So that's I liked it, what they said. We will come back to the scalable and like this finality and things. We will actually see the demo, right? But let's go back to again what is the leaderless, right, and why they call the leaderless. So they have explained nicely actually what they meant is here, but yeah. So this is they are explaining how their algorithm works. Actually, it starts from the genesis block, right? And then let's say the first transactions happen. I think let me just quickly go over. Yeah, this guy. Right. So they have explained this nicely, a very simple way, right? Like only 4 or 5 transactions and how validators works basically.
Come
So
again. Sorry. So the last part. Can you please explain that again?
yeah, so let's say we have the Genesis block, right? So they have just started their blockchain, and
Mhm.
there is no one actually. So it's just a Genesis block. And now, then let's say a person. A comes, right? They named it as Chad basically. So who is doing the first transactions from the Genesis block, right? So what they do is like is level one. Okay, the Genesis block is on the depth zero. That is like always remains the depth zero, and then whatever the transactions come, the depth keep increasing. That's how the graph works, right? So the first transaction that comes, like they call it as a chat, right? So that transaction comes on top of Genesis block, and what he does is he also stake some of the pearls, basically. So to be a validator or to participate into this wavelet blockchain, to be a validator, you need to stake pearl. So you keep it actually. That's why it's proof of stake. So that's why if you stack the Pearl is their token, basically, native token on the Wavelet blockchain. So then you become the validator. So now Chad at level one become the validator, right? Now another person is coming on top of Chad, like let's say on depth two, right? But see, his name is Alice, for example, right? So she has an option here whether she can refer to the Genesis block or she can refer to the Chad's block, the level one, right? So if she refers to let's say Chad block transaction, then what happens is the transaction fee that Alice pays that goes to Chad because he is a validator. Okay, so that's how the Chad gets the reward from the Alice's transaction. Yeah, and Alice didn't stack any tokens, Paul. So she is not validator. Now let's say so 0, 1, and 2, and now another person is coming at level 4. Let's say the Bob. Yeah. So no, level 3. So Bob is coming. So Bob can refer to Alice transaction, then he will be on like level 3. So if we consider the Genesis block is level 0, then 0, 1 is Chad, 2 is Alice, and 3 is Bob, right? So if
Yeah.
Bob refers to the Alice, then what happens is the transaction fee that Bob pays, that will go to Chad again because Alice is not a validator, right? So the way you see the transaction happens, like it is called graph traversal, right? So it basically travels from Bob to Alice, then Alice to the chat, and the chat to Genesis block. That's where the graph stops traversing. Yeah. So that is basically the way it travels. They have explained that as well in the detail, which is called breadth first traversal. We will see that also very quickly. Okay, so now let's say the Bob is also stake some of the holes, and now he becomes a validator as well. So now we have two validators, Chad at level 1 and Bob at level 3. Now the other person is coming, Jason, on top of Bob's, right? The level 4, I mean depth 4. When he makes the transaction fee can go to either Bob or Chad, right? Because the Chad is the ancestor of Jason and Bob is the parent of Jason, like in transaction wise when you see, and they both are validators. So to who this transaction fee will go, that is basically determined by the algorithm called this breadth first traversal, and what they do is they implemented this whole reward system, and they choose the threshold value. So this is their, I mean, depending on the hash function they use, they generate the random hash basically, and from that hash, they something called threshold value. They generate the threshold value, and it always the random, and it is always the between 0 to 1. Okay, and now once that threshold value is generated, they assign that uh, the range of the values between 0 to 1 to all the validators. So they have given the example here, like if these four guys, right, with this tag, and they all the validators, then they assign this range depending on how much stake they have polls. So they assign like 0 to 30, 0.35, 0.35 to 0.85. So see, like Emma has just 10 and Tyson has 5. So basically, based on that, they do this assignment, and this one is generated randomly, and and the transaction fee, the reward goes to the one who comes into this range. So like if you see this guy, the Nora comes into this range, right? So Nora has 0.4 covered. So C gets the reward. So it's very random. So basically what does this mean is like everyone has a chance, so it doesn't matter whether you have, 1 million poll or you have like 1,000 poll, right? So everyone get the chance uh, to be a part of this reward system. Makes sense. And there is a lot more to do it, like when you can withdraw and things, but that's nothing too.
So basically, I mean, it seems like Perlin is really well thought out when in terms of the execution of their technology.
Yeah. So
How are they different from other projects, right? I mean, like, is this the first time somebody's doing it this way?
yeah, the leaderless we never heard before, right? So this is the first blockchain going the leaderless, where no one, I mean, there are validators, but validators are not leaders who always decides the blocks that get final into the.
That sounds kind of like having nodes and master nodes in a way.
Yeah, I mean, but it's different. For example, let's say you are trying to mine the Bitcoin using 5 computers, right? The chances that you will have is like almost zero. Okay, you will never have that because it depends on the number of stake and power and how much energy you have and all those things. But here it doesn't matter because it's choosing the random, right? So you even like you with minimum power and minimum stake, you still have a chance to get some stakes, some rewards or mining.
Yeah.
Make sense? Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's, and when you say leaders, right? So like proof of stake, for example, any blockchain that you take, so leader like election base or delegated proof base or random leader base, that is basically chosen by the algorithm itself. And once the leader is chosen, they actually make the decision which which chain to select, which blocks goes into the final. And whoever does that, only those guys gets the stakes, right? Not other people who may not get selected ever. Okay, so that's a problem. But this is what they are trying to do is like they traverse, hold the blockchain number of validators and give the stakes um, to reward everyone basically. So you have a good chance to choose an as a
Okay, that's great.
validator. Yeah, and the breadth first traversal, that's what I say is that it starts with the genesis, right? And let's say if we are at this level of Alex, so the way it works is it starts from here and then the minimum weight, whatever the minimum weight is there. So like Alex, after that it will choose the Clara, right? Clara, and then after the Clara, because it is breadth first traversal, that means it's level order. So you complete the one level completely, then second level completely, then third level completely, like that. So, but which one will choose first? That depends on the weight. Whoever has the minimum weight, that's chosen first. So Alex, then Clara, then Kyle, then Clara has two childs, Sally and Rohan. Rohan has a less weight than Sally, so it will be Alex, Clara, Kyle, Rohan, then Sally. Then it will go to Kaila's child, Rohan and Katie. Rohan is already been visited, so it will be only Katie. So that's how basically the traversal happens. And on the traversal, basically that makes the decision about the validators, whether it's validator or whether he gets any any rewards or not, basically. Right, and the way this algorithm works, there is something else also that beautifies this algorithm is it's called this processes, right? So that is basically execution of the algorithm that what we have seen. But the way it works is like there is a processes involved. So stages is like one of this. This is first stage actually. The gossiping is what they do is like all nodes, right? They need to come up with the same graph uh, for all of them, right? So to come up with the same graph, they start discussing and communication between that. And this communication network layer, they have implemented using gRPC communication, right? So which is Google's remote processor core is one of the best algorithm at the moment, and most of blockchain started using that as a overlay network layer. So this gossiping happens between all the nodes, and they start communicating with each other to make sure that everyone has the same graph, but nothing gets committed to the blockchain, right? That's where the things comes to querying. So what querying does is once that everyone has said that, okay, everyone has the same graph, okay, so they run the consensus rounds actually. Number one round, consensus round, and then everyone is agreed, then they move to the next consensus round. Okay, that is also something very beautiful, the way they are doing. We'll explain that later. And then the querying, what querying does is once that everyone is agreed that we have a same graph, they go into the graph and verifies that each and every bits by bit that the graph is valid. And that's why the querying process is much smaller, slower than gossiping. I will run the demo blockchain today on this video. I will show you like what is this gossiping means and querying means and how they are working and why it is it is lower
Yeah. Just
because
to add to that, sorry. So for those so we'll be posting a video that kind of sums up the technology of Perlin in the next few days or so, right? As a separate video as well. So if people kind of want to make sure you're subscribed and you have notifications turned on, and definitely make sure you hit the thumbs up button to like the video. All right, go ahead, Paresh.
Yeah, so basically querying is slower process than gossiping, right? Because querying is tries to commit the graph into the final, basically, that makes the final. So that's where the problem happens, right? So that's what they call is a partial synchrony problem, because if querying is slower, then what happens is like if more and more transactions keep coming, then there will be like more pending transactions than the committed transactions, right? So, so how they solve this issue is basically something called the load factor, right? So what they use is like depending on the network condition, they keep switching, they keep adjusting this load factor, so that the number of transactions that can be performed by the querying protocol needs to be managed well, to address this issue basically. Okay, and to do that, basically, what they follow is design, as I said, that these two things very important. In this is like kind of heart of their whole blockchain, right? The one is overlay network protocol, and the second is querying protocol, which they are using Snowball. I'll tell you what does that mean. So this overlay network protocol is something called is a Kademlia. Yeah, hope I'm pronouncing it right. So what it does is basically a distributed hash algorithm. Let me search Kademlia. Yeah. So it is a distributed hash table, right? So for peer-to-peer computer network. So the way it works is basically is keep this hash of each node, right? I mean the graph as distributed among the network. And to find that one, like whenever we need it, right, it is hash table, so it's like kind of order of one. I mean, you can get it like in constant time, right? And if you want to like search some other node, right, it is like order of n log n. I mean, order of log n. Actually, that is a property of any tree because it is level order, right? So that's why it is very fast to search for any node. that they want to basically direct the messages and communicate messages whenever it requires.
Yeah.
All right. So, and the snowball actually, this is something very important actually. The way it works is, so you need to make sure that the critical transaction, that's what they call it, and the critical transaction is something, you know make sure that there is no security breaches, right? If there is any transaction that is suspect by some nodes, right, then they run something called the snowball sampling technique, right? So what it does is, for that critical transaction, they keep verifying like number of times from all the nodes that this transaction is right, this transaction is right, and the number of times that verifies, it is fixed. That is what is called snowball. So let me, yeah, so this is the, so if anyone knows, actually this is they have taken this algorithm for avalanche, so this snowflakes to avalanche white paper, and it was also very recent. I think it was a revision done in May on last year actually. So if you see this, this is the algorithm they do, right? So they keep going for each undecided nodes. I mean, they run the samples for each one, and they keep checking the count basically. So we don't, I mean, it's very difficult to understand exactly what happening here, but we can say that like this count, that once this count means this critical transaction keep going between the each node, and and the same transaction, the node confirms that yes, this is right transaction, this is right transaction, and it happens like b times, then only it will accept basically. Okay, so that's basically what happens only for the critical transaction, to make sure that the blockchain, the tag, is remain the consistent and valid across all the nodes. Okay,
Okay,
so that's,
now quick question, sorry. So how does this project compare to other DAGs and other projects, right? In terms of the potential or possibility for it?
yeah, I mean, the only difference I would say, I didn't complete the Casper level research yet, otherwise I would have tell you exact difference, but the only difference I could imagine will be this leaderless. So even though if it is DAG, right, there will be a leaders or validators, who can only validate the graph, for example, right? So let's say this protocol has chosen some X number of leaders at one consensus round. For that consensus round, only that number of leaders are chosen, and they will make sure that everything is valid. Make sure. But here, nothing like that. Everyone is basically participating in that. All the validators, right? Whoever wants to, basically. That's why they call it the leaderless. And depending on basically the stack and things, they reward everyone. Does that make sense? So that's the only difference I can see.
Okay. All right. If anybody has any questions on Perlin from the technology standpoint, just post them in the chat. Okay.
And this is also important. I forgot to tell you this one first. Actually, the wavelet is based on the WebAssembly script. So I think they have mentioned it here. We will go over this thing actually soon. So they support the Wasm smart contract and the wavelet ledger. It's their blockchain. Wasm smart contract is WebAssembly smart contract. What does that mean? Is, I mean, you can write the smart contract in any language that is supported by this WebAssembly. And WebAssembly is I mean, something like next level a technology, for browsers actually. Let me find out one link. Yeah, WebAssembly and many other languages. Yeah. So so basically, you can write the smart contract any of this language, right? C, C++, .NET, Java, anything, and it can compile into the WASM, which is basically WebAssembly binary instructions, and it can run on the browser. So that is like huge step, for all the blockchain that coming in the future. Actually, they're all supporting this WASM, and it's
Is that
really.
widely used, WASM?
Yes, I mean it is started now. Like Casper Labs also using this one, and many other blockchains that
So
coming.
that means you could port a smart contract from anywhere
Yes,
that's in
exactly.
WASM and run it on their.
Yeah, so I will show you that as well in this video. So we will write the smart contract in Rust and compile it into the WASM and upload on the Wavelet blockchain. Okay.
Okay, so
So
somebody is asking a question about how this compares to IOTA and others. I'm not sure if you have any insight in that.
there is no, I mean, it's IOTA is is totally different, right? The way it works and things. Let me see. So IOTA is also uses the directed cyclic graph for storing the transactions, right? I think that was one of the first blockchain that used the DAG. I think as far as I remember, because it came I think 2017, if I remember it correctly, right? But still, I mean, if you see the IOTA was mainly for machine-to-machine micropayment system, right? What it does, they still have the predefined nodes, right? And it is that's why it is called local finality or something similar word they have used. So it's that's why it's very fast, right? And it is not 100% decentralized. But this guys, the Perlin, what they're doing is without compromising the security, they want to be fully decentralized. Okay, so there is no predefined nodes or like no. It is totally permissionless. Basically, it's not permission blockchain, right? I think IOTA, I would say that it is permission, and that's why they were able to handle the quantum computer scenario. Actually, I think what was last week also we talk about this, right? If you remember. So the only difference I could say is it is using the DAG, which is similar, but they have the predefined nodes who can approve the transactions and the block on the blockchain. Okay,
Okay.
that's why it's faster and still not the fully decentralized. Make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so basically they support this WASM. So you can write a smart contract on any language, and you can deploy that. You can convert that to WASM instruction and deploy that on the blockchain. Okay. So let's do this thing. I want to deploy this decentralized chat actually on the Wavelet blockchain. So okay, before that, what I want to do, let me change my share and we can run on the testnet on my local terminal. Okay, do you see my terminal?
No. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Now we see it.
Okay. So you can see I already downloaded the Wavelet master. This is their blockchain code. Okay, and also tested their Rust contract. I will see and the chat, decentralized chat as well. So I will go through this how to, what is this about, but let's go over the testnet actually. Uh, this testnet, what we're going to do is run the three nodes, right, and run the blockchain, wavelet blockchain on each node, each terminal, and on the different port and connect with each other. Okay, so if you see this one, so I'm running and I have taken the pre-generated binary for them. I could recompile as well on OS X. I'm using the Darwin AMD 64 binary. It's available on their GitHub releases. So so you can see I will run this wavelet on port 3000 and API port is 9000. That means anyone wants to connect to this node, they can connect on the 9000, right? So that basically uh, the node is started now. It's listening on port 3000 and for API 9000. Okay. The another node I will start on port 3001 and API port is 9001 and this guy will connect to the previous node on 3000. Yeah. So now if we go back to this previous.
Sorry, Paresh. Is the terminal supposed to be moving, or is it just me?
Oh yeah, it should be moving. You don't see that?
No, it's just paused.
Oh, okay. Let me just share my whole desktop again because that happens.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether you were typing. Okay.
Do you see my whole terminal now?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, whatever, yeah, the I think it's a Zoom problem. If I'm sharing only this terminal, then if I go to this terminal, it
Yeah.
doesn't do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I was just saying that yeah, I already downloaded this Wavelet master, yeah, and also downloaded the Wavelet Darwin build, which is for OS X, and I just ran the uh, uh, first node for Wavelet blockchain on port 3000. API port is 9000. Yes, anyone who wants to connect to this node can connect to 9000 using their API. If any node wants to connect to this node as a peer node, they use this 3000. So I have run this one, another node, and it is connecting to the previous node on 3000. So you can see here the peer has joined like 3001, right? Which is this guy is running on 3001 and he has joined here. So now if I go here and if I run the third node on 3002 and connect to the first node on 3000, then it will connect and it will show here that yeah, peer has joined from 3002. So now basically this means I have three nodes running, right? So this is like simulation of three nodes. And now what I want to do is I want to run the testing benchmarks they have actually. So this is from their blockchain. I mean the Wavelet master. So I have cloned. I mean just downloaded from their repository, and they have this test benchmark. Actually, this test benchmark is written in the Go, and what is doing is basically flooding the transactions between all these nodes. Actually, that we see here, they are using the Wavelet blockchain system calls, and they are flooding the transactions, right? And the payment transaction, and that's where basically they have promised this, right? You see my this one now, right? Browser.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
That's where they have, they come up with this one, this number 31,240 like this, right? Using the testing benchmark. But what I am doing now, it is, it's not considering all these things like what they have done is using this 240 DigitalOcean instances, and each computer had like two virtual CPUs with 4 GB RAM, and they also consider this kind of realistic scenarios where you have 2% packet loss, then transfer rates is like maximum 1 megabytes per second, and you still have like 220 millisecond communication latency. And they have created this whole scenario, and they run this testing benchmark on them, and they come up with maximum this, right? But if you disregard all these things like a realistic scenario, then they say that they came up with 180,000 transaction per second. Okay, so let me run now this testing benchmark. So what all I need to do is just run go remote. So what this will do is it will use all these three nodes, right, randomly, and it will start flooding this node, and you might hear my processor will go crazy. We will see. I mean, let me start the activity monitor so we can see the memory that is using, the CPU that this process is using will be very high. Okay, so let me press enter. Right, so let's say started. Okay, so see, it's from Genesis block. It started on like 57 transaction per second, right? And you see this is like gossip transactions, and this is queried. So this is gossiping and this is querying. So gossiping is, you can see it is like 213, right? Transaction per second, because there were not many transactions, and queried protocol is less. And now they start flooding it, right? So now the network is keep increasing and increasing and increasing, and by the network load factor keep increasing, the accepted TPS start increasing, the gossiping is increasing, and you can see the gossiping is like almost 10 times faster than the query, right? And if you see my computer, that will be like, look, wavelet is going crazy, right? So it's using like 200. And
Okay, so what's the fastest TPS we can get on this test net?
so this one is keep going and going, right? So it will come one time, one point it will come where it will stabilize. It cannot go faster than that. And that's what this number I would assume it will be. Okay, but this number is, they have tested it in like very huge, so I don't expect that will come actually. I went over up to 21,000, but I won't go beyond beyond that on my laptop, because
Okay,
it will
it will
kill.
crash. Yeah, it will crash the live stream.
Yeah, it will kill my CPU. Okay, but you can see, I mean, you're getting the points. It's just flooding it, and the depending on the network load, your gossiping and querying protocol keep increasing, and uh, accepted transactions per second also keep increasing.
Okay, so
Yes,
let,
no.
let's kind of I think pull everything together and kind of do a recap in terms of the technology so far and your honest opinion on it. Obviously, not financial advice.
Yeah, now I mean you can see as well, right? So this all node were doing work basically between communicating with each other, coming to the consensus, and pruning, deleting the previous transactions and everything. So whatever they are saying in their protocols and things, this testing benchmark and this wavelet, their code is achieving the things. Okay, so do we have a time for this deploying the smart contract or not?
Smart contract. How long do you think it will take? A few
Let
minutes?
me just 1 second. So I already built this one. Okay. So new chat target was release. So I already built this Rust program and created this WASM assembly. So what I can do is I can quickly show you the testnet, the Perlin testnet. So this is Perlin testnet. It's lens. Okay, so let me log out. So anyone can go here and log in. It will give you the private key. So what I can do is just copy that private key and just store somewhere, right? And then I'm connecting to the testnet Perlin. So it is basically running. So I connected. Let me just, I will need that private. Oh, I will. Okay, so now I go to here. I copy that private key, and I connect from here. So see, I have connected to the Perlin testnet with I'm trying to use this decentralized chat. Yeah, but I don't have that contract deployed yet. So what I will do is first I will get some pearls. Yes, so I use this faucet and I can just say get pearl. It will give me in 10 seconds some 500,000. Come on, come on. Three, two, okay, right. So it didn't give me. Come on. No, it should give me 500,000. Once it gave me, I think this balance was also automatically updated. Okay, it's not giving me. So yeah, it used to give me. Let's try here. If here it gives me.
Okay.
It gives me successfully sent. I didn't save my previous private key, otherwise I had enough. Okay. Anyway, it seems something is not working. It
No worries.
doesn't.
No worries.
So,
Well,
but I mean, if you get that call, then what you can do is I have done myself in video. You will see. So in developer, you upload the smart contract here, choose this gas limit, and basically uh, um, deploy the smart contract that we have wrote in the Wasm. This basically this file, and that file is basically nothing but what I do is is this and is this. So basically, it's this Rust level language, right? All it does is basically send message and receive message, okay, nothing else. So it's a decentralized chat, and once you deploy that you will have that chat smart contract address, and you paste it here, load the smart contract, and you start chatting basically. And if you want someone to receive the messages, you can send that smart contract address to that guy, and he can use their private key and connect to the same smart contract, and they can talk to you over the blockchain. It's very interesting. I think they might be doing some maintenance as well. That's why it may not be working.
okay.
So I
All
think
right. Yeah, that was definitely very technical, very thorough.
yeah.
Now, okay, so let's kind of do a quick recap for those who are non-technical, and then kind of share our rating for the technology of Perlin. And then we have some people who are asking about the coins we've been looking at from 31 to 40 market cap. Sorry, from 11 to 20 market cap, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Okay, sure. Right. So basically, you see now. Let me 1 second. Yeah, I mean, overall, I really like this project for Lynn, right? And definitely the reason and the the unique leaderless proof of stake protocol. Yeah. And important thing is about the team as well. So the CTO Kenta, think I have followed his video with Brad, and also I had a discussion with him on, and I asked like so many questions to him as well, because they were lacking on the documentation, and they have updated it after discussing with me those documentations. And he knew actually everything. He knows what he is doing. Very strong at technical, and clear on the concepts about this Perlin and Wavelet blockchain. And they already have few decentralized app deployed on the blockchain, like Perlin Clarify, Certify, or Cloudify, but I couldn't test. I think if they just given the information. So and they given the technical overview as well, but I can't verify it myself actually. right? So that they might be releasing at some point. And I really like the way they have implemented this directed acyclic graph implementation, and the reason actually, to run the full node on the smart contract with internet with 500 megabyte is really amazing. Okay, and the testing benchmark, as I have showed you guys, right? They actually achieved the 31,000 transactions per second, but just remember, it is not real. It is still the benchmark for me. Okay, so that's the only concern I have about this project is, whether it will run the same way or work same way in real life actually. Okay, so like when you have actually physical nodes running and trying to come up with the consensus and thing. So I cannot verify this one, but what they're saying, they're testing benchmarks, so hypothetically, yes, they are able to do it. Okay, but if they will be able to do this in real life and able to achieve like even half of this, right? Not 31K, but a half of like 15,000, then also I would say Perlin will be like at the front line of addressing blockchain scalability. And on top of that is like without compromising security and still be fully decentralized. So yeah, actually, that's what I thought about this project. Of course, nothing.
Now, what was the percentage grade for it? It was 90 something or 80 something?
No, let me check. I think the only they don't have the main net. So main net is, I think, coming sometime in December, as far as I remember. And at the moment, all they have is ERC20 token. They will be replacing that with their native token when they go on the mainnet. So that's where they lacking the point actually. And other way they lacked the point was architecture, because it was very complex for me to understand and think. So what it was, let me just recall. So 451 and 546, 48 out of 55 at the moment. So it's 87.2. Yeah, it's 87.2 percentage at the for now. But
87%
once
grade. Okay.
87.2, but when they go on mainnet, right? I think then it will come to 92.7.
And minute is when again?
I think it's sometime about this December this year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so the technology is 87%. I know Sam on our team has also been doing the research for the fundamental analysis.
Yes.
And I believe the score for that was pretty low, though, compared to the technology. I think it scored in the 70%. So I think if we factor in the two grades, our final comprehensive tokenmetric score was about 77% or so, I believe.
Okay.
But we'll have the videos coming out that confirm this.
So do you know where they were lacking in fundamental and research?
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up here from the notes. Okay, yeah, I think just some other factors, right? Just because it's an IEO, ICO, and it's a very new coin, right? Lots of risk involved, as opposed to other cryptocurrencies that are top 10 market cap, right? So what Sam and Sarab on the team said, the consensus mechanism, right? They're kind of lacking the token utility or token burn, I believe. Then it's a brand new project with a very small community, right? There aren't really many fiat pairs, right? It's kind of, we aren't really sure about the liquidity, right? Obviously, it's a Binance IEO, but nowadays when we do the fundamental analysis, we're thinking several years down the road, right? Because nowadays we've seen IEOs, ICOs get liquid the first week and then become shitcoins with no volume that are illiquid, right? Because they just moved on to a brand new IEO, right? So we're kind of thinking long-term picture, right? Because based on the survey of our community, most people hold for years, right? So we can't really analyze a project with a short-term mindset anymore, right? We have to think about several years down the road. Is this something worth holding, right? So that's where the fundamental score comes in. Then other things, we have the community, the company, I think has been around for a short time. Not much press initially, besides the Binance stuff, right? There isn't really a well-known person in the industry kind of backing the project besides Binance, right? But all these are points that can be improved once it launches and starts having traction.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. So that is also, as I said, was my main concern.
Yeah.
That but we
Okay.
want to see this, when it's working in real life actually. And if
Okay.
it does, then yeah, this will be.
Okay. So to wrap up, maybe let's kind of look at the top 20 coins. Let's pick up where we left off, if we can.
Okay, let me share my screen again and just share the ranking of top 11 to 20 only. So last time we have seen 1 to 20. This is 11 to 20 in my list when I have created this list. So the way I am ranking, none of these are green. Okay, so only the green, like above 50, was only in first 10. The blue is still good because the blue are above 45. So above 45 means they are still, it is a good project and the
Now,
team,
this is out of 55 points, right?
uh, yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, out of 55. So, I mean, all this range that you see, right, they are, for me, they have everything open source, good team, and they are still working on the project. Okay. If you see this Bitcoin Asway, right, Monero, I think is a good project, but not much active. Actually, that's why it is low. This one is totally rubbish coin. I think it's just,
Wait, which one is that? Is that the Bitfinex coin,
yeah,
Leo?
yes. Literally just ERC20 token. And I think it's not just ERC20. They are doing mix and match. Let's see. I found it interesting, but it's kind of there is no utility. So they have like 660 million tokens on ERC20 contract and 340 million tokens on US contract. Okay, and they switch between this one as a centralized way using this Bitfinex exchange. Okay, there is absolutely nothing innovation on technology wise. I can't see any team who worked on this. I can't see any code. It's not open source or anything. So it's basically the token, some token is on top 20.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Okay. And I see Chainlink didn't score so well. Can you kind of share more info on that?
yeah, let me see. You might see my. You don't see browser, right? Let me share my browser so I can share our moon.token metrics. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Go
Is
ahead.
it- Yeah. So let me search for Chainlink.
So as it's pulling up, guys, this is a preview of token metrics, which is what we're working on, right?
Right. So if you see, right, so the innovation wise is okay, medium, right? It is unique project, but not many people needs it. It's definitely, I like the concept, right? Like the concept of adding the dynamism to the smart contract and fetching the data from outside world is great. But at the moment, I don't see many people are actually going to use this basically. But if you see the code quality wise and things, yeah, they are good. Yeah, architecture is good. Mainnet is ready. Usability team wise, everything is okay, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, so I think overall, yeah, the project is good. That's why it has stuck at 41 because of not getting enough point here innovation. Otherwise, I
So
mean,
there isn't much innovation in the oracles they're building. It's something that's really been done before.
not it's just done before, right? It's just like what do you actually think how project will perform and is like this one, right? The percentage of crypto users needs it. I don't see any many projects using it actually, right? So again, then it will land on the top 20 as a being the kind of trading token basically, right? But if you see like code quality wise and things, yeah, they are okay, they're good, and they are also a little bit active as well on the
Okay.
GitHub. Let me see. Yeah, they're very active. What they're doing actually, right? The only thing, I mean, once we have some kind of news from there or like people are started using it, then they can like let's see like how much they are compromising here is a huge. If you see uh, at one point, right? If they go like over 11% or 6 to 10%, we add like 3 points and 5 pointers to it. Okay, so that's where the most of projects lacking.
Okay. So I think now, have you done the top 20?
Yeah, yeah, top 20, yeah, done.
Yeah. So which ones ranked well or scored well for that?
So, well, yes, I think we already spoken about
Top.
still Cardano, right? Last time Dash as well.
Okay.
Maybe so.
We're still on the same screen. Not sure if you're presenting something or. Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
And so, yeah, I think we didn't talk about this Neo. We did speak about this Dash, right? Last time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all these coins, if you see like 45 range, I think they are good. They are good project. And even like this one, the yellow one is, to something to watch out, basically. They can go to good easily, right? So basically that's, but the red ones are okay. I mean,
Okay.
nothing is happening actively now, that's what it means.
Any other coins like top 20, 30? Or is that
I
for
think
next time?
we can take 21 to 30 maybe next time. I have done it, but we'll do it next time.
Okay, interesting. All right. Well, thank you so much, Paresh. That was great. That was very technical, very thorough. I'm pretty sure the technical people will definitely like that. And then we'll also have a nice, concise version, right? The Perlin video is how long? About 20 minutes?
Yeah, 20-25 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we'll have a nice, concise video of technology review on Perlin. Then we'll also have one for the fundamental review, right? So 2 videos coming up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, right? Tokenmetrics. If you're watching this on my Diary of a Made Man channel, make sure you're subscribed to the Tokenmetrics channel. That's where all the content is being posted. We already have one out on Blogstack, and we have daily TA videos from Raphael. So you're missing out if you're not subscribed. And go to tokenmetrics.com and make sure to join the email list to get notified whenever we launch, right? We're slowly opening it up private testing to get some initial feedback. You guys got a chance to see a quick preview of it with Paresh. It's something we've been working on for almost 1 year. We have lots of all-stars around us helping us build a product that we think is going to be more dynamic and really help bring the data-driven approach and take it to a whole different level, right? Because the spreadsheet had its limitations, and the platform we're building now plus the content as well, we think can really make this go to the next level. And the whole goal is, right, obviously as investors, is to invest and find the best investments and make money, obviously, right? But it's never financial advice. It's always just us sharing our personal opinion. Always do your own research as usual. But we want to make sure that we look at as many data points as possible. So with Tokenmetrics, we're looking at over 100 data points, right? But as Paresh just showed you, those are the data points he's looking at just from a technology standpoint. Then we also have the fundamental standpoint. Then we also have Raphael, who's helped us automate the technical analysis, right? So we'll have automated TA on Tokenmetrics. So for all the traders, you definitely won't be left out. You'll be part of the crypto family we're building, and hopefully you guys like it and enjoy it. And make sure to follow us on social media, on Telegram, and the email. Okay, with that being said, thank you so much, Paresh. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ian.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye. Bye.